on this car, obviously. And so it's got a double adjustable monotube design coilover on there. I messed around with spring rates, but I kind of went with what I had started with on the ground controls. So 600-pound front spring, 700-pound rear spring.
Okay.
Pretty moderate street setup, track setup.
Yeah.
A lot of guys run that for the e46 M3, so I figured it was a good starting point and an apples to apples comparison from the Koni shock to the iBox shock. And our guys hit the nail right on the head with these things, man. These coilovers are awesome. And besides that, I've paired a lot of it with like ground control hardware. So it's got ground control race camera plates up top on the front. I've got a ground control front sway bar, ground control end links. The back, I've got ground control weight jacks, which allow the spring to articulate with the arm movement. So it's like it's a collar system to move the spring up and down, but it's on a pillow ball and it's on a cone. So whenever the arm moves, the spring is staying nice and flat with the suspension arm.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it's got ground controls, model ball, trailing arm bushings back there, Turner solid inner bushings. VAC hooked me up with all the subframe mounting plates and solid bushings for the rear subframe. Ground control hooked me up with adjustable race control arms, so it's got no more bushings back there. It's solid on there. So there's a bunch of different arms that all have bushings back there, but it's all solid now. So there's no rubber back there at all, which makes the car very predictable, and you can really feel what the car is doing at the limit, which is nice. You don't get that flex and all the bushings back there and the car moving around.
How comfortable for street driving though?
You kind of hear some stuff, like if you're on the freeway and you go over a reflector, you'll hear like a crazy thunk, you know, but I mean, I'm not sitting in the car like jarring my head everywhere I'm driving. It's tolerable, you know, and coming from like a lowered Civic with the same spring rates, this is way more tolerable than the EG.
Day and night,
Yeah.
And then tell us about your wheel and tire setup, man.
So I've got the Volk Racing ZE40 wheels on here, and when this wheel first came out, it was, you know, a lot of it was like 5x114 fitments, and I saw that they were going to release it for BMW fitment, so I hit up Eddie, the Titan 7, but he was at Mac at the time. He said that they had just released them, and he's like, dude, if you want a set, I'll hook you up, and we'll airship them from Japan for you. And it was one of the first sets to hit the US, so I think I put these on the car, and instantly, like, I don't know, no one really cared about the car on silver Apex wheels until I put the ZEs on there. And then I feel like I got a lot of notice with the ZEs. I think the red and the bronze they pop pretty well.
And what are the specs on those?
So it's an 18-inch wheel by 9.5, and the offset's a plus 20, so it's all the way around.
Oh, nice.
And then right now I've got Yokohama 8008R tires on here now, which are probably one of my favorite street tires.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the longevity, the grip level, everything is great on these.
And then tell us about that tiny little big brake kit that you went with. That's huge. That's
Yeah, Stillen was doing something with the AP Racing, so they came out with these Radical kits, and dude, it's amazing, man. So the front uses a 370mm rotor, the back uses a 360mm rotor, the front caliper is a 6-piston, and the rear is a 4-piston. And dude, they're amazing. I mean, they've got good pad selections, and they actually wear really well too. Since the brake is so big, you're not really chewing through rotors and pads very fast. These rotors have seen better days, but these are the rotors that I got with the kit originally. So I've gone through a few sets of track pads.
Wow.
So yeah, next step before getting this on track is get some new rotors and pads in here and new tires.
Did you get the brakes before the wheels or the wheels before the brakes?
I got the brakes after the wheels.
That clearance is tight in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you would be able to fit a 17 in there, or even an OE wheel. I haven't tried the OE wheel yet.
I doubt it. No way.
Yeah, because people will run like OE square wheels front and back, and it looks pretty cool on these cars. But yeah, these brakes are huge.
Those things are massive. That's awesome.
So the interior, I've taken a few things out.
Just a few.
Yeah, just, you know, things that I didn't need to make the car lighter. So sound deadening's all removed, carpet's removed, obviously. I've made these custom door panels, so I cut actually my factory door panel all here, which still remains the door handle here, and then just put like a plastic ABS panel over it with a little pull strap. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I saw some guy in Europe that did something similar with like a carbon fiber panel. I thought it was super cool, but I thought the carbon fiber was a little overkill, so I wanted something a little more subtle. And I found these big plastic ABS panels from a company in San Diego. So I figured I mocked up a template using cardboard, and then I made my cuts and drilled my holes, and I got these just generic little plugs from AutoZone and plugged them in the holes that were already on the door.
Super clean.
Yeah, and the window switches are already on the center console there, so I don't have to worry about rolling up and down my windows. The only thing I'm really losing now is my mirror adjustment, which the seat's fixed, so no one's driving this car but me.
So everything's fixed.
Yeah. So there's no slider on the rail at all. So these are my seat adjustments here, and I mean I've had them in there for the last 5 years, so I know they're not going nowhere.
What kind of seats? Speaking of the seats.
So these are Momo's Lesmo 1 seats. Lesmo 1 is a famous turn at the Monza track in Italy.
Oh.
If you watch Formula 1, they talk about the Lesmos.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Super aggressive seat for street use.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, I go with Momo's Lesmo 1 seat, both driver and passenger, and then I've got Momo's steering hub and Mod 69 steering wheel, and I was lucky enough to go to Momo myself and pick everything out, like just from the warehouse. and the steering wheel normally came with a gray button, and I remember asking Fabrice, who was there at the time, I'm like, hey, where's your box of like cool horn buttons? He's like, what do you mean cool horn buttons? And the warehouse guy's like, I got you. He's like, showed me a box of all these horn buttons they had, and I was like, oh, that red one right there, I'll take that.
Awesome.
And then I've updated the shift boot and e-brake with the competition M3 one, so they come in Alcantara. And then the shift knob is the BMW Motorsport golf ball knob that I got from BMW World. And the idea behind that is it's fully rubber, so when you're racing it in the rain or whatever, it's got grip no matter what, because if you had like something leather or